From Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.
On News Hour tonight, 112 Nigerians return as another batch of 306 arrive from Hungary. And Saudi Arabia opens Hajj to foreign participation after 2 years. National Drug Law Enforcement Agency recovers 294,440 tramadol tablets, other illicit drugs in Delta, Bauchi, and Ikeja. And in the foreign scene, Ukrainian leader Zelensky says Russia is planning to bomb port city of Odessa as Russian incursion enters 11th day. Hello and a warm welcome to Trust News Hour. My name is Chijoke Akafo, and now the news in full. Nigeria has received a new batch of 306 of its nationals evacuated from Ukraine following Russia's invasion of the country, with the latest batch arriving in Abuja from Hungary on Sunday. The Nigerians in Diaspora Commission stated that the returnees arrived at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, aboard Air Peace through Budapest, Hungary. The government has so far evacuated 3 other batches from Poland, Romania, and Hungary between Friday and Saturday. The arrivals increased the number to 1,112. According to NITCOM, despite ordeals of the returnees fleeing the crisis in Ukraine, they were excited to be home. Reports said many Nigerians and other nationals have fled Ukraine into nearby countries since Russia launched a full-scale war on its neighbor Ukraine on February 24th. As the Russia-Ukraine crisis enters its 11th day, Nigerians are still being evacuated from Ukraine. Eddie Dombreye is the head coach, Lobby Stars, whose family is stranded at the Ukrainian border waiting for evacuation. In an exclusive interview with Trust TV in Bauchi State, he expresses hope to be reunited with his family soon. Adamu Imam, Trust TV, completes the report.
Russian military continue invading Ukraine as war continues, and many civilians killed while more than millions fled to southern border for possible evacuation by either government from other countries or humanitarian agencies of the world. Eddie Dombreye says he can't wait to see his wife with his 5-year-old child.
I feel really bad, really bad inside. Not just because my families are trapped over there, but because war is no good. We all need peace. We need love and harmony. So you see people dying every day, and especially my family, they're trapped. My wife and a 5-year-old kid, trying to get them out. So it's really taking a toll on me. Thank God they are on the way in the train to border town, Lviv. So if they get there safely, my only worry is that they get there safely.
As the war escalates to other cities across Ukraine, countries of the world are in support of heavy sanctions to Russia, while again, Dombreye says it's a terrible situation as he commended Nigerian government despite the challenges at hand.
I must thank the federal government for taking a bold step. Making that first evacuation really speaks a lot, and I say I really appreciate them.
Russia's invasion on Ukraine is reaching 11th day with several cities under siege as humanitarian assistance continue in different Ukraine border. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
While Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, says government is on its own as it gets set to inaugurate a team to renegotiate the 2009 agreement. However, expects the implementation of the said agreement and nothing else. The national president of ASU, Emmanuel Osodeke, said if the government could spend public funds to bail out banks, power generating companies, and power distribution companies that had been sold to private individuals, it should not shy away from bailing out the education sector as a whole. Osodeke said the government appeared not to get its priorities right and opined that anybody who says the union asked for the impossible should also look at the value of the naira in 2009 and now. Earlier, the Minister of Education announced that the federal government is set to inaugurate a team to renegotiate the 2009 agreement it signed with ASUU on Monday to submit its report 6 weeks from the day of its inauguration. Foreign pilgrims will partake in the 2022 Hajj exercise after 2 years suspension of pilgrimage to two holy mosques due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NACON, in a statement issued by its head of public affairs, Fatima Usara, on Sunday, said the Ministry of Hajj and Umrah would also set the revised quota for each country to be released by the ministry in due course. The commission says guidelines for the 2022 Hajj will be released after the signing of a memorandum of understanding with the Saudi Ministry of Hajj and Umrah. NACON's chairman, Zikrullah Hassan, while rejoicing with Muslims all over the world on the announcement, urged intending pilgrims to desist from traveling with prohibited items into the kingdom, such as illicit drugs and kola nuts. Well, joining the news hour from Kaduna is Ibrahim Mohammed. He is the National Coordinator, Independent Hajj Reporters, an NGO that reports Hajj activities in Saudi Arabia as well as Nigeria. Hello, Mr. Ibrahim Mohammed. You're welcome to the news.
Good evening. It is my pleasure to join you today.
There has been a lifting of the direct flight ban on Nigeria and 16 other countries as well into the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. This is in the wake of the emergence of Omicron variant of COVID-19. What are your thoughts on this? Being a reporter who has been at the center of all of this, both in Saudi Arabia and in Nigeria as well.
Okay, thank you very much for the question. And well, I joined the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria in congratulating the Nigerian Muslim Ummah on the lifting of the ban. First, you know, the last Hajj operation that was performed under a normal condition was in 2019. And since then, the entire Hajj and Umrah industry has been source of hibernation. And after the Hajj 2021, which only the indigenous of Saudi Arabia participated, there are hopes that Hajj 2022 Nigerians will be able to participate. But suddenly the Omicron virus surfaced, and when Saudi has no option by then, being a center of convergence for the entire 1.5 billion Muslims all over the world, they have to take that precautionary measure. So they suspend the countries that have actually announced that they have seen Omicron in their countries, and unfortunately Nigeria was among those countries. But prior to this announcement, there's been some a tidbits of pieces of information that Saudi may soon lift the ban. First, the federal government also make a move through the Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, pleading with the kingdom to follow other countries that have lifted the ban. So alhamdulillah, we thank God. It seems that we are approaching a normal situation, but it's still not here to hold because the COVID-19 is still prevalent in other countries. But most importantly, the entire Hajj and Umrah industry now has had a sign of relief because we have less than 20-something days to Umrah, and one of the most patronized Umrah during the entire season is the Ramadan Umrah, owing to the marvelous benefit therein. So with the lifting of the ban, Nigeria will be able to go to Umrah in droves.
Hold you there and ask, what do you think, from your own opinion, what are the implications of this 2-year ban on direct flights that has stalled Hajj, especially for Nigerians, now bringing it back home? What are the implications with regards to faith? Let's start with that first.
Well, the implication is networking. The impact has been very, very felt. I'll give you one sample. In Nigeria, there are over 250 registered tour operators. And these tour operators, their primary source of living is in ferrying Nigerian pilgrims from Nigeria to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia to perform Umrah and perform Hajj. That industry, there's a zero activity in the last 2 years. The Hajj proper, we have over 20-something standing state pilgrim welfare board offices with the hundreds of thousands of employees that have been idle in this last year. So the lifting of the ban will not only elevate the economic activity of these industries, it will also bring a sense of relief to the airliners. Most of them, their wet season is during Hajj, and also the other stakeholders who offer different services. We have hundreds of caterers, and we have other important sectors. And let me also tell you, it is only Hajj and Umrah where you have all the agencies working hand in hand together: the NDLA, the custom, the immigration, the road safety, the security agencies, the medical services working hand in hand together. That synergy has been missing in the last 2 years. So it will kickstart a behavior of activity after the ban has been lifted.
Now, I understand from what you've listed, there are more implications than we had envisaged, not just faith-wise. We're talking about the economy as well. Of course, the Hajj and Umrah is not just about, the pockets of the airliners or the hotels that people use there, or, the economic sector. But then let's look at it from that aspect. What do you think this has cost both the Saudi government and the Nigerian government, as well as the governments of those 16 other countries that were placed on ban? And how do you think going forward this loophole that has been created within the space of 2 years can be filled and compensated for?
Thank you for your question. Let's do the first question. What is the implication, economic implication on Nigeria? Let's domesticate it. As I said earlier, it has affected the local, primarily the private tour operators. They are the receiving end. But on the part of the Saudi government, I can tell you, I'll give you simple analysis. The average pilgrim in 2019 actually paid 1.5 million naira or thereabout to go to Saudi Arabia and perform Hajj. And I can tell you, 80 to 80-something% of this money is actually flowing to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia to support their economy. And that is why they actually felt it. If you look at the economic consumption of Saudi Arabia in the last 2 years, there's a little bit of gap in what they used to get from the tourism sector, because there is no Hajj. That is just Nigeria alone. We have top 10 Hajj countries: Indonesia, Afghanistan, Malaysia, Bangladesh, that form top 10, and they constitute almost 60% of Hajj industry in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. So they felt it so much that the entire hotel industry in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is well underdog and key. While we felt it in Nigeria primarily by the local tour operators, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia felt it in one of quantum of cash that we do move to the kingdom. And apart from that, there's economic activities that do take place, buying and selling. There are a lot of people who go there using Umrah period, buy commodities, come back to Nigeria and sell it. And there's little on the underground corporation. So that also has been felt. But going the way forward, as you said, is that some of this country will be able to pick up slowly and gradually and begin to regain the momentum. Remember last year, the King Salman, the King of Saudi Arabia, actually granted the source of relief to some of the key industries in Saudi Arabia. But although Nigerian government has actually set out a palliative to support the economy, I don't think there has been anything specific for the tourism sector, hospitality and tourism sector, which the Umrah fall under, specifically for the private tour operators, because they have actually felt it.
Prime, this is coming at a time when Nigeria is faced with the challenge of drug trafficking, and we know the bad reputation that some bad eggs from Nigeria have created for the country on the international scene. And we have heard statements coming from stakeholders advising people who might be intending to go into the Holy Land with banned substances or even things like kola nut. What will be your words with regards to this? In case there are some bad eggs who would want to go there and distort the original purpose of Hajj in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia?
condition, especially this moment that we are, that issue of drug has become a global concern. Interborder transmitting of drugs by some criminally minded people. When the hajj has been not only in Nigeria, some of these criminals do look at the hajj as avenue because of the mass movement and the mass activities that do take place. They do hide under it and think, but I can tell you the scenario has changed. You can remember the National Health Commission Chairman Barrister Zikurula actually last 2 weeks ago there about made the NDLEA where they seek to work hand in hand together in order to discourage some bad element from using the hard industry to perpetrate that income. Not only that, I want to use this opportunity to warn anybody that will have such mindset. The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia has actually tripled their effort in detecting anybody coming to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia with the drug, because I follow the event there 24 hours. I know what is going on there. But on the issue of cola nut, well, they actually banned cola nut, not primarily because of the source of the big no, they primarily because of the abuse that tourism do give to it. I can tell you 2017, 2018, 2019, Nigerian premium sometimes 5, 2 or 3 cola go there to eat it. But people seize that opportunity sometimes to be marketing cola, going there with the $9 of cola. That is why they place a blanket ban on it.
Right, thank you very much, Malam Ibrahim Mohammed. Thank you for your insights. I've been speaking to Ibrahim Mohammed. He is the National Coordinator, Independent Hajj Reporters, a non-governmental organization that covers Hajj activities in Nigeria and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. We also apologize for the poor picture quality from his end. Moving ahead now to other stories. Governor of Zamfara State, Bello Matawalle, has enjoined Muslims all over the world to imbibe the spirit of unity, peace and tolerance as instructed by Islam. The governor, who is also the chief host of the 2022 International Maulud of the late Sheikh Ibrahim Inyas, made the call at the 36th celebration of Maulud in Gusau, where he stressed that unity is one of the keys to sustainable peace, development and progress of any nation. The report.
Millions of Muslim faithful from all walks of life converged in Zamfara State to observe the 36th Maulud of Sheikh Ibrahim Inyas. Governor Bello Muhammad of Zamfara State, while addressing delegates of the Maulud, emphasized the need for Muslim faithful to uphold peace and unity as instructed by the Holy Book and the teachings of the Prophet, peace be upon him. Governor Muhammad observed that the Tijaniya sect has exemplified strong bond and a unifying platform. He, however, called on the followers of the Tijaniya sect to emulate the good characters of Sheikh Ibrahim Inyas, which he maintained throughout his lifetime.
My decision personally to request for the hosting of this year's Maulid in Zamfara State was informed by my conviction that a congregation of eminent Sufis, scholars of piety and virtue from all over Africa coming together to commemorate the life of the great sage of our time will bring a good omen for our state, Zamfara State. Dissemination of this message of peace, love, piety and moderation will help in building bridges across all divides, restoring peace and building a better society. For us, the opportunity to hold the 36th National Maulid of Maulana Sheikh Ibrahim Inyas is not only a source of great honor and pride to the state and its people, but also an exceptional opportunity for the state to benefit from the prayers of godly ulamas, fires, sheikhs, and teeming followers of the Tijaniya Sufi order from all over Africa for peace and security of Nigeria and Zamfara State in general.
Dethroned Emir of Kano, Muhammad Sanusi II, said, for millions of Muslims to gather in Zamfara State, which many believe is a state bedeviled by banditry and terrorism, is a positive sign that the peace is returning to the state in particular and the country at large. He called on Nigerians to engage in fervent prayers, which is one of the powerful tools to surmount the current security challenges facing the country, and harped on the need for peaceful coexistence among all Nigerians, irrespective of their religious affiliations, and the prayers offered from the Maulud Day and are capable of moving Nigeria forward. He also cautioned purveyors of fake news to desist from doing so because fake news can escalate the insecurity bedeviling the country. Meanwhile, the messages of spiritual purification and improvement of the servants' closeness with their God resonated at the Maulud.
As you know, the Sufi orders are peaceful orders. Our emphasis is on spiritual purification and improving the closeness of the servant to his God, a peaceful coexistence, and not just with other Muslims, but with all faiths. And we hope that these kinds of gatherings and the prayers that we have for peace and prosperity for the country will move the country forward. Well, first of all, we need to pray. No matter how difficult the situation is, God can solve matters.
One of the prominent figures and the chief guest at the Maulud, Caliph Mahi Ibrahim Inyas, said the theme of this year's Maulud is pray for our country and peace for Zamfara and the entire northern region.
Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps (NSCDC) in Zamfara State has paraded 18 suspects for offences ranging from vandalism, theft, criminal conspiracy, and hibernation, amongst others. The public relations officer of the state's command, Eko Oche, who paraded the suspects on behalf of the commandant, Akushi Sparks, said the Corps' fight against criminality is in line with its commitment to rid the state of all forms of criminalities. Take a look.
Zamfara State Command of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps vowed to eliminate criminals and criminalities in the state. It is against this background that the operatives of the Corps apprehended suspected groups of criminal gangs undergoing investigation. The public relations officer of the Corps, who represented the state's commandant, said 3 suspects were arrested from Kara village of Wanke district of Gusau local government area of the state for criminal conspiracy, vandalizing electric wires, and theft. While some group belonging to a gang of thieves were also arrested at the just concluded 36th International Maulud Ceremony ground on Saturday, while they were attempting to steal phones of innocent participants. According to the Corps, the suspects hired a bus from Zaria in Kaduna State to Zamfara State to commit mischief at the Maulud ground. Those arrested include Abawada Maiguru, 21 years old, Aliu Shehu, 18 years old, Abubakar Salisu, 27 years old, Nasura Habibu, 26 years old, Yahaya Shehu, 19 years old, and Aminu Lawali, 18 years old.
The Corps is not relaxing in ensuring that elements of criminality in Zamfara State is nipped at the bud. Here today we have 4 categories of offenders who have categorically been arrested, and criminal investigation has been done. Here we have some group of young men who specialize in vandalization of public properties, government properties. As you all are aware, the Corps is saddled with the responsibility of provision of constant and effective protection of national assets. It's one of our core mandates. And also, we are also saddled with the responsibility of fighting against vandals.
The spokesman of the command further said 4 other suspects who specialize in pickpocketing and stealing of handsets were also nabbed by operatives of the Corps at the venue of the Maulud ceremony, among others. The public relations officer said the suspects will be charged to court when investigations are concluded. He, however, warned all miscreants that Zamfara is not a safe haven for criminals to hibernate. Therefore, asked them to relocate from Zamfara State, as the Corps is poised to arrest them from their hideouts.
We have another gang of thieves who also chartered vehicle all the way from Kaduna Zaria and took themselves to Zamfara here during the period of Maulud, also to commit other kind of mischiefs and other kind of heinous crimes. They were also apprehended by the men of Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps at the Maulud ground, and they were brought to the office here for further investigation. We deem it fit to parade them because we want the public to know what these men are up to and what civil defense have done for the society.
Moving ahead now, 36 persons abducted in Guga of Bakori local government area in Katsina State have regained their freedom after a month in the bandits' den. According to Madi Guga, whose wife and daughter were among the victims, he claimed Guga community paid the sum of 21 million naira as ransom before their family and loved ones were released on Sunday. Irigwe Development Association has condemned the killing of herders' cattle and the destruction of farm crops around the Mayanga community of Basa local government area of Plateau State. The Secretary General of the group, Njuma Ota, in a statement alleged that the killing might have been carried out by youth who were provoked by the activities of herders in the area. Trust TV's Ado Musa gives an update to that story.
On Wednesday, government stormed the general area of Mayanga community of Basa local government area of Plateau State. According to the leadership of Mieti Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria, MAGBAN, when the government stormed the area, they started shooting at the cattle while grazing. Malanura Abdullahi, who is the state chairman of MAGBAN, told Trust TV that they have lost almost 100 cows in the incident, while about 100 are still missing. Malanura accused Irigwe ethnic group of launching the attack, but the Secretary General of Irigwe ethnic group, Danjuma Dixon Auta, denied the allegation, saying that the attack was not launched by members of Irigwe ethnic group. He went further to say that the attack was probably carried out by individuals who may have been provoked by the activities of herders in the area. This attack is coming barely 2 weeks after the General Officer Commanding 3 Division, who doubles as the commander of Operation Safe-Haven, a multi-security task force in the state, Major General Ibrahim Ali, inaugurated a committee who will guide the implementation of some of the recommendations given by a 6-member committee set up by him sometimes last year.
Nigeria has moved to 6th position in the latest Global Terrorism Index, GTI, following successes in the fight against Boko Haram insurgents, dropping 2 places from 4th, a position it had occupied since 2017. The GTI, published by an independent and non-profit think tank, the Institute for Economics and Peace, indicated that Nigeria, Syria, and Somalia are the only nations among the 10 most affected by terrorism to get an improved score from 2020 to 2021. According to the report, there is a decline in the number of terrorism-related deaths in Nigeria, attributing the incidents to the death of Boko Haram leader Abubakar Shekau and the federal government's efforts at defeating the group. According to the report, total deaths from terrorism in Nigeria fell to 448 in 2021, the lowest level since 2011, with terror-related casualties dropping by almost half compared with the previous year. However, the number of terrorist attacks increased by 49% between 2020 and 2021. National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, has intercepted at least 294,440 tablets of tramadol, diazepam, Swinol, Refnol, and Exo-5, along with other illicit drugs in major operations across the country. Director, Media and Advocacy, NDLEA, Femi Babafemi, stated this in a statement on Sunday in Abuja. Babafemi said that the operations were carried out in Delta, Bauchi, and the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Ikeja, Lagos. According to him, in Delta, the operatives arrested 1 Christian Ona, 42 conveying drugs to Benin and Onitsha, Anambra State, at Isele, Azagba Junction, with 23,160 tablets of Swinol and 66,000 tablets of Refnol, both weighing 71.6 kg. In another arrest, the operatives arrested a commercial vehicle from Onitsha heading to Ibadan, Oyo State at Abraka Junction, Asaba, with 78,000 capsules of tramadol, while about 5,000 tablets of diazepam and 97,500 tablets of Exo 5 were also seized, and a suspect, Olanian Sunday, 42, was arrested. Also, the operatives arrested one female suspect, Patricia Sadua, 42, with 233.7 kgs of cannabis during a raid in Oregon community close to Abbey Town in Kwale local government area of Delta State, amongst others. President Muhammadu Buhari on Sunday departed Abuja for routine medical checkup in London. The president's spokesman, Femi Adesina, in a statement on 1st March, said the president ruled from Kenya after attending the United Nations Environmental Programme at 50, proceed to London for routine medical checks that will last for a maximum of weeks. However, the president returned to Abuja on Friday. The president, since his assumption of office as a democratically elected president in 2015, has been going to London for medical treatments. Meanwhile, the president, shortly before departing the country, said Vice President Yemi Osinbajo is now in charge of the nation. You're watching Trust News Hour, coming up after the break. Why governors hesitate to sign death warrants. Stay with us, we'll bring you more stories shortly.
Coronavirus disease, COVID-19, is an infectious disease caused by SARS-CoV-2 virus. Most people who fall sick with COVID-19 will experience mild to moderate symptoms and recover without special treatment. However, some will become seriously ill and require medical attention. The virus can spread from an infected person's mouth or nose in small liquid particles when they cough, sneeze, speak, sing, or breathe. These particles range from larger respiratory droplets to smaller aerosols. You can be infected by breathing in the virus if you're near someone who has COVID-19, or by touching a contaminated surface and then touching your eyes, nose, or mouth. The virus spreads more easily indoors and in crowded settings. Maintain a safe distance from others, at least 2 meters, even if they don't appear to be sick. Wear a mask in public, especially indoors or when physical distancing is not possible. Clean your hands often. Use soap and water or an alcohol-based hand sanitizer. Cover your nose and mouth with your bent elbow or a tissue when you cough or sneeze. Stay home if you feel unwell. Get vaccinated. Properly fitted masks can help prevent the spread of the virus from the person wearing the mask to others. Masks alone do not protect against COVID-19 and should be combined with physical distancing and hand hygiene. Protect yourself and others around you by knowing the facts and taking appropriate precautions. Follow advice provided by your local health authority. This message is brought to you by Trust TV.
And you're welcome back. This is still the News Hour on Trust TV. Here's a reminder of our top stories. Nigeria has received a new batch of 306 of its nationals evacuated from Ukraine following Russia's invasion of the country, with the latest batch arriving in Abuja from Hungary on Sunday. And Saudi Arabia grants foreign pilgrims permission to partake in the 2022 Hajj exercise after 2 years suspension of pilgrimage due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Well, moving to other news now. Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, says 3 people tested positive for coronavirus on Saturday. NCDC stated this in its latest coronavirus data published for Saturday, 5th March, which is the lowest number of daily new COVID-19 cases in 2022 so far. Meanwhile, no death figure recorded from COVID-19 complications, leaving the death toll at 3,142. The daily count of recoveries increased slightly, with 11 patients discharged on Saturday, increasing the total number to 249,171. Since the index case in February 2020, Nigeria has confirmed 254,640 coronavirus infections in the country. Stakeholders have called for increased funding and enabling government policies to promote family planning projects across Nigeria. They made the call during a 3-day capacity building workshop organized by Pathfinder International to train media practitioners on advanced family planning and its sustainability. The report.
According to statistics provided by the Nigeria Demographic and Health Survey of 2018, over 10 million women in Nigeria lack access to modern family planning methods. More worrying is the fact that 28% of women in the southern part of the country have an unmet need for modern family planning methods despite high sexual activity and high fertility. In 2017, the Nigerian government, through the Federal Ministry of Health, had committed to set aside 1.2 billion naira, an equivalent of $4 million annually from 2017 to 2020, to fund the family planning programs in Nigeria. However, only 300 million naira of the agreed sum was awarded and released in 2019. It is against this backdrop that Pathfinder International brought together stakeholders in the sector to orient participants on the family planning landscape and advocacy efforts in Nigeria. The aim is to build capacity of media editors and on-air personalities from states where its advanced family planning project is currently running.
It's not about, number of children or stopping children. It's about an individual's reproductive health goals. If my goal is to have 3 children, I want them to be spaced, I want them to be healthy, and I also want to be healthy, and I also want to come out and also do other things as media advocates, as journalists, as those that are the link between information, between the health workers, for instance, and the general public. You have a huge role to play, and that is why I'm happy that you're interested.
We felt that we also needed to strengthen the capacity of the media on how to report family planning issues properly. So, and that informed us bringing together gatekeepers who are media editors to come together and get them familiarized with what we are doing at Pathfinder International through the Advanced Family Planning Project to be able to achieve the Family Planning 2030 goal of ensuring that additional 120 women and girls have access to voluntary and quality family planning services.
Some members of the advocacy working groups in the advanced family planning states shared some of the challenges encountered when championing the cause for healthier family planning methods.
We have the challenge of policy, favorable policy, the issue of visibility, and the issue of funding. As you already know, funding is actually plays very pivotal role, in what happens. It's actually funding that would help, in the procurement of commodities.
Government always look at groups like that as being a group that will challenge their capacity to deliver on the mandate that they have taken on behalf of the people, particularly in family planning. You see a government not creating a budget line, for instance, for family planning, because not understanding that family planning is also an important issue.
The communication officer of Pathfinder International, Bayo Iwola, also shared some of the wins the project had secured over the years.
Over the years, we've been able to achieve wins across all our focus areas, talking about funding and policy. In the state, we've been able to, working with the advocacy working group in the state, we've been able to get budgets allocated for family planning, and not only that, also ensuring that the budget is released to procure commodities for family planning.
As it stands, the government is yet to release the 2020 family planning budget of 1.2 billion naira, and the constant delay and inconsistency in fund discharge has created a gap of 2.1 billion naira, making it even more difficult for more women in rural communities to access family planning services and information. Sagir Ibrahim reporting for Trust TV.
Number of convicts on death row in various prisons across Nigeria is increasing, contributing to congestion in some cases. Legal experts want adoption of measures to address the challenge of death sentence execution. Speaking to Trust TV's Shafiu Suleiman, respondents say a total overhaul of Nigeria's justice system is imperative to speedy dispensation and execution of death sentences to serve as deterrents in combating criminal activities in the country. The report.
Section 33 of the 1999 Constitution, as amended, deals specifically with right to life, a fundamental human right backed by both domestic and international laws. But there is a limitation to this fundamental right as captured in subsections 1 and 2 if a person commits crimes such as murder, treason, armed robbery, mutiny, amongst others. Complying with these provisions may be giving birth to a rising number of convictions, especially in the criminal justice sector. But those saddled with the responsibility of implementing the sentence tend to hesitate in signing such warrants. What could have been responsible for this?
Once a person is sentenced to death, a state governor is expected to sign the warrant. After signing the warrant, there's a hangman in the prison service who is supposed to, upon a date given by the prison service, the person is supposed to hang as enunciated by the judge. But so far in the last 20 years, what we are even told is that there are no hangmen in Nigerian prison.
The jurisprudence in Nigeria is such that when you look at it, it is giving you one thing with one hand and taking it away with the other hand. For example, why is the reason why a court declares the judicial sector of the government, which is an independent arm, why would it require the approval of the executive arm for it to be implemented?
And the essence of law everywhere is for deterrence, in order to checkmate people, to make people to conduct themselves within the ambit of the law.
With the mounting number of inmates in Nigeria's correctional services, which is put at 56,700 in 2015, coupled with the changing nature of crimes and criminality such as terrorism, kidnapping, and cyber-related crimes, experts say overhauling the criminal justice system is a must to capture the current realities.
Take the insurgency, for example. 13 years ago, when the Boko Haram started, there is no clear, uninhibited, fundamental prosecution and conviction of a Boko Haram member. 13 years after, we have not had that. Most of these insurgents that you call them insurgents, we only see that they are arrested and paraded at police headquarters. But we have not seen where they are being prosecuted and even convicted.
Even the dead demands justice, because the person that killed the dead should equally be killed. An eye for an eye, a hand for a hand, life for life. If in a situation whereby you have killed me and then my corpse is there, my spirit, my soul is there, and then you are saying that the person that killed me shouldn't be killed, definitely my soul will never rest in peace. My spirit will never rest in peace.
Another consequence of this is that it's going to create impunity, because people know that even after committing such heinous offense, which the penalty is death, they know at the end of the day the governor are not going to sign it. So it will encourage them to operate with impunity.
Even as pressure continued to mount from liberal international communities on the need to abrogate capital punishment, Nigeria and several others, including the United States, China, and Saudi Arabia, recognize death penalty. In Nigeria, however, absence of effective implementation mechanism constitutes an impediment.
These are some of the problems of having what I will call cultural, democratic, constitutional imperialism. That is what we are seeing now. You are importing a culture that is, an anathema, repugnant to the history, to the culture, to the costumes, to the character, and to the expectations of your citizenry.
The lacuna we are having is the ability of the governors to demonstrate sufficient political will to assign their signature to such a judgment, so that the death penalty can be carried out.
Though Amendment of Terrorism Prevention Act 2011 by the National Assembly is done to capture some contemporary crimes like terrorism and kidnapping. Experts say such must be consolidated to stem the tide of ritual killings, now assuming frightening dimension.
It is very, very important that our legislators should take up the gauntlet, do the needful, look at the issues pertaining to the conditions of our people, the living daily practical conditions, and then come up with updated laws such that can take care of the many issues that are bedeviling us.
It is imperative on our own political leaders, whether executive, whether legislature, whether judiciary, to look into all these issues. Any legislation or any piece of law, whether constitution or statutory, that is having any vestige of imperialism.
At the moment, there are about 3,000 inmates on the nation's death row awaiting execution without clear-cut timeline of implementation. A situation legal experts say breeds criminality and impunity amongst the society. In Niger State, for instance, many death warrants are awaiting governor's assent. Shafiu Suleiman, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Sickle cell anemia and disease often affect a child when one or both parents pass the defective form of the gene to a child, which leads to the sickle cell trait. A false genotype test result has rendered one of the children of a mother of two a sickle cell disease carrier. Barbara Dechi narrates her shock when she found out about her son's condition after she was convinced about safety to marry her spouse. Trust TV's Aisha Salihu visits the troubled family and brings us this report.
Sickle cell disease is a result of a failed genotype test report issued to his parents.
You have to run some tests before you get married. And so we did a genotype test. We did the test before we went to church to tell them about our intentions. We did the test, and then I am AS, my husband was AE. So when we went to church, they said they need their own copy. So we need to do another one between the period. So we had to go to the hospital, but our mistake, I think, was that we went to the same facility to do the test. So my husband's genotype still read AA, and mine was AS. And then we got a false report. So when we gave birth to him, he was okay, he was all chubby, he eats and everything. But then all of a sudden, he stopped, he weaned himself at 10 months. He stopped sucking, and then he stopped eating. So for like a week or so, we kept trying to give him milk, to give cereal to, but he wouldn't take.
Bero Barbara Dapchi, mother of Nampuren, still in disbelief, decides to verify her son's condition.
My mom suggested we do a genotype test for him, and I was like, it doesn't change, genotype doesn't change. His father is E and AS, there's no how he has his SS. When I met the pediatrician, somebody referred me to the hospital. We went, he's a very good pediatrician. He examined him, and then he did all the tests. I didn't even tell him to do the test. He did every test. And then he told me that he has sickle cell anemia. We couldn't understand, you get. So we had to go and do another test for the dad, because mine has been consistent since when I was a child. I think I know my genotype, so we did, and then we realized we got a false result from the facility we went to.
She goes further to narrate how devastated the family has been.
It hasn't been easy, but then our encouragement is that we have to do this for him. It's a different story if we're known and we still went ahead to do it. This is different for us. So we try to be there each time for him, and then we don't really make him feel, we don't have pity on him. We treat him like every other child.
Barbara noted that her son's physical development has been greatly affected.
Physically, No, he still looks small. He doesn't look 7. He looks 4 or 5. So his younger brother is 5, but they could pass for twins. So most times in school, his classmates will call him Smally, or how come you're in our class? You should be in nursery 2. We get all sorts of. So and then there was one time he was worried about it, and he came back home and said, "Mommy, this person is calling me Smally, and I don't like it." And I said, "You tell her that you don't like it. And then each time she calls you Smally, tell her you're small but mighty." You know, I tried to make him loosen up a bit. Recently, he has been in and out of the hospital quite often. And then we're trying to know what and why, what's been causing it. One of such things is mosquitoes, malaria. They don't like mosquitoes. So once they have malaria, it triggers the crisis.
The mother of 2 complained about the state of health facilities in the country, as it leaves a lasting effect on her family.
Health facilities they're beautiful from the outside, but not so good from the inside. A few of them are actually very good if you're able to identify them, but some, no matter how beautiful and how they place them in society, believe me, there are, apart from the fact that there are no certain equipment or drugs, it's devastating, right? He was recently on admission, and then he was in pain for about 2 to 3 days, and I knew that he was out of the hospital not up to a month, and then this recent admission. So when I started seeing the symptoms, I was broken.
She says the financial burden of catering for her young son is challenging, while calling on the appropriate authorities to help save her son. Aisha Salihu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Gombe State government says over 6 billion barrels of oil has been confirmed at the Kolmani oil field by the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited. Governor Inuwa Yahaya lamented the delay in the exploration, which he attributed to the COVID-19 pandemic. Ibrahim Ismail reports from Gombe State.
Speaking at a civic reception in honor of a former acting chief judge of Gombe State, Muazu Pindiga, at the palace of the Emir of Pindiga, Governor Inuwa Yahaya said the oil already discovered by the NNPC will be harnessed.
Abun da ya shafi harkar mai yana karkashin gwamnatin tarayya. To amma dai
oil exploration is under the federal government, but the pandemic is the reason for the delay. However, I am optimistic. The NNPC confirmed over 6 billion barrels of oil.
A wannan kudi saboda haka dole ne mu tsaya ya wajaba akan shugabanni mu yi abin da ya kamata domin al'umma su shaida wannan ganin cewa ana cikin wani hali wanda babu daɗi saboda haka ina daɗa albishirwa al'umma.
We must do the needful as leaders. We can't relent, and by the grace of Allah, our people will benefit.
Wannan zai zo ya tabbata kuma zai tabbata cewa mutanen mu sun amfana da shi.
The Emir of Pindiga has earlier called on the state government to provide some social amenities to the host communities.
From here, this palace, to where these oil rigs are, it's only a question of 23 kilometers from here. So we are urging the state government to construct the access road from here to the main oil fields, because without this access road, the community is still lagging behind, and even some of the farm products are not readily cannot be transported easily.
In 2019, President Muhammadu Buhari has flagged off oil exploration at the Kolmani area in Gombe State. But it's more than 3 years since the flag off. Governor Inuwa Yahya admitted that there is a delay caused by the COVID-19 pandemic, which affected the exploration exercise. From Gombe, Ibrahim Ismail reporting for Trust TV.
Let's turn our attention to the international scene now. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has claimed that Russian forces are preparing to bombard the major port city of Odessa on Ukraine's Black Sea coast. In a televised speech on Sunday, Zelensky said Russians have always come to Odessa. They have always felt only warmth and sincerity in Odessa, adding that it will be a historical war crime. There is no immediate comment by Russia, which launched an invasion against Ukraine from air, land and sea on February 24th. Russian forces have since made progress overrunning the city of Kherson and besieging the port of Mariupol, but Odessa has so far been largely spared. About 1 million people live in Odessa, a cosmopolitan harbor on Ukraine's southern coast with both Ukrainian and Russian speakers and Bulgarian and Jewish minorities. The Russian advance from occupied Crimea has in part turned east to link up with Russian-backed separatists and to seize the Sea of Azov, port of Mariupol. And in sports, Kevin De Bruyne and Riyad Mahrez scored twice as Manchester City reopened a 6-point lead at the top of the Premier League by brushing aside Manchester United 4-1 at the Etihad on Sunday. The defeat means there is now a 22-point gap between the clubs and is another blow to United's chances of just qualifying for the Champions League next season. The Red Devils now trail Arsenal by a point in fourth, who also have 3 games in hand. At the top of the table, Liverpool also have a game in hand to reduce City's advantage to 3 points. In another Premier League game, Arsenal beat struggling Watford 3-2. We will now join Ibrahim Yusuf for more sports news.
As the Nigeria Super Eagles look forward to this month's 2022 World Cup qualifier with the Black Stars of Ghana, Super Eagles midfielder Ogenyo Onazi has explained why he feels he is still an important player for the Super Eagles. Onazi, currently on the books of Saudi Arabia's second division team Al Adala, was placed on the standby list by the coaching crew after being away from the Super Eagles for over 2 years, which raised questions from football fans in the country. Onazi explained that he is always ready to represent his country and to do his best for the Super Eagles whenever he is called upon, and the fact that he has not been part of the national team for a while should not count against him, adding that he was not surprised when he was called upon and placed on the standby Super Eagles list. Nigeria will face Ghana in the first leg of the qualifiers on the 25th of March.
And with that story, we come to the end of the news hour on Trust TV. Many thanks for watching. My name is Chijoke Okafo.